breakfast, where you plan to travel next, a project you're working on, or any other event. Analytic. An analytic approach involves stopping and analyzing your thoughts when you feel impulsive. You can ask yourself questions such as, why am I thinking about this stressful problem or event? How can thinking about this stressful problem or event help me? Could I be thinking about something else? What's a better alternative thought? 293-294 Part V, the part of tense coping. A coping strategy involves a number of specific coping thoughts that you practice in advance. These thoughts include statements such as, I know I can control my thoughts. I can just slow down a bit. Let me think this through. I don't have to rush with a response. I can think of alternatives. Strategies such as the ones in the preceding list can help you successfully deal with stressful problems or events when you practice them in advance. You can't effectively try out these strategies on the fly. With planning and practice, you can go a long way in dealing with impulsive thoughts, words, and actions. These techniques can work for normal levels of impulsiveness. If your impulsiveness is part of a problem with ADHD or AD, then you need a more intense intervention. If you suspect you or someone close to you has a serious problem with attention, then you should consult a psychologist or psychiatrist who specializes in this area. To learn more about ADHD, visit the website of CHAD, Children and Adults with Attention Deficit/Hyperactivity Disorder, a nonprofit informational organization, at www.chad.org. Be more flexible. Everyone has routines and set ways of doing things. For a society to run efficiently, it needs a certain amount of rules and regulations. However, you can experience problems when you get stuck in a rut and become inflexible to change. By being too rigid, you miss out on opportunities, fall behind in learning new techniques and approaches, and tend to deal with personal and work problems in the same, sometimes unproductive, ways. Being emotionally intelligent involves knowing when to stick to and when to switch your emotional attachments. When it's time to move on, people high in emotional intelligence can make that adjustment. If you find change difficult, look at the possible consequences. What might happen if you stay with the status quo? On the other hand, where might you be if you go with the flow? Change is part of growth. Throughout life, new experiences and new opportunities can provide you with personal and professional fulfillment, and you need to be open to these changes. Although you Chapter 17, 10 Ways to Improve Your Emotional Intelligence might find it uncomfortable to try new things, most people find the short-term pain worth the long-term gain. Part of growing as a person involves learning new skills and approaches and experiencing new relationships and places. Pete has been at his job for a little over 5 years. He feels he can run his area by rote. He knows how efficient he can be and what his capacity is. One day, the company decides to update the equipment that Pete uses to a newer, more efficient model. Pete's quite resistant to any change. He likes things the way they are, and he doesn't want to compromise. Unfortunately, Pete's attitude doesn't find much support in today's workplace. You'd have some trouble trying to find a workplace today in which things stay the same. Being an obstacle to change doesn't help your career advance through rewards or promotions, and it can, in some cases, lead to termination. Be happy. How happy are you? No, really, how happy are you, on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you a 5 or a 7? How about a 9? People high in emotional intelligence are happy people. And they're not just happy because good things happen to them. Happiness, real happiness, which feels like a warm, steady glow inside your body, comes from the inside out. A person who manages this emotion well wakes up happy in the morning. And when he encounters challenges throughout the day, he can maintain a certain level of his happiness. In fact, his happiness buoys his spirits when encountering the trials and tribulations of daily living, and it keeps his mind clear, preventing him from getting caught up in unproductive self-pity or other non-helpful emotions. Happy people come up with more solutions to problems than sad or depressed people do. Although sad people generally pay more attention to details than happy people accomplish more than sad people. Of course, because happiness and sadness are emotions, they do fluctuate. So, you can control your mood to serve your own purpose. Being emotionally intelligent involves knowing when to be happy, sad, excited, anxious, or even vigilant. People prefer being around